Architecture is a reflection of our history, our beliefs, and our ambitions. But how did we go from the grandeur of ancient temples to the cold, minimalist structures we see in modern cities today? What did we lose along the way, and what did we gain? Let's take a journey through time, exploring how architecture evolved and what it reveals about human progress. 1. Ancient Mesopotamia and Egypt, architecture as power and divine order. Imagine standing before towering stone structures, their purpose not just to shelter, but to impress the gods and the people. Around 3,000 years before Common Era, buildings weren't just buildings. Temples were aligned with celestial events, massive and symmetrical, designed to communicate the power of gods and the might of rulers. Every axis, every stone was perfectly placed to showcase a cosmic order. Beauty wasn't for the human eye, it was a message for the divine. 2. Ancient Greece, beauty with purpose, the birth of proportion. Then came the Greeks, and with them the idea that beauty could be understood, measured, even perfected. For the first time, architects focused on the human experience, trying to answer the question, what makes something beautiful? The answer wasn't just about decoration, it was about proportion. Pythagoras, the ancient philosopher and mathematician, once said, "All is number." He believed the universe was governed by mathematical patterns, and these same patterns, symmetry, rhythm, and proportion, became the foundation of Greek architecture. Third, ancient Rome, engineering marvels and monumentality. As Greece's influence spread, it laid the groundwork for another empire to rise, Rome. And here, architecture took on a new dimension. The Romans didn't just copy the Greeks, they transformed their ideas. They combined Greek principles with groundbreaking engineering to create structures that were both grand and practical. Think of the Pantheon. Its massive, unreinforced concrete dome is still the largest in the world. The Romans perfected the arch, vault, and dome, opening the door to larger, more open structures. For the Romans, architecture wasn't just about beauty, it was about engineering genius. Fast forward to the Middle Ages and the rise of Gothic architecture. This was a time when architects began to design buildings that seemed to reach for the heavens. With pointed arches, ribbed vaults, and flying buttresses, the sky became the limit. Cathedrals like Notre Dame de Paris and Chartres Cathedral became symbols of human ambition, reaching new heights, both literally and figuratively. Gothic architecture wasn't just about creating awe-inspiring structures. It was about creating sacred spaces that connected the human spirit with the divine. Gothic architecture wasn't just a style, it was a statement of faith. 5. The Renaissance, rediscovering classical harmony. After the chaos of the Middle Ages came the Renaissance. Architects and artists looked back to the classical ideals of ancient Greece and Rome, but saw them through a new lens: scientific exploration and artistic ambition. It was a time of rediscovery, a time when architecture became not only about symmetry, but also about human proportion and the relationship between man and the universe. The Florence Cathedral, with its remarkable dome designed by Filippo Brunelleschi, exemplified this new era of architectural ingenuity. The Renaissance was about blending beauty and science, art and mathematics. The Baroque period, drama, grandeur, and emotional impact. By the late 16th century, Baroque architecture entered the scene, a style characterized by drama, emotion, and grandeur. No longer were architects merely concerned with proportion and symmetry. The goal now was to create an experience. Baroque architecture, with its sweeping curves, intricate details, and bold, dynamic forms, was meant to make an impact. It was often used by the church and monarchies to symbolize their power and divine right. Iconic buildings like St. Peter's Basilica in Vatican City showcase this dramatic flair, with its massive dome and ornate interiors. Baroque architecture wasn't just about impressing the eye, it was about moving the soul. Modernism, the rise of function over form. As we've seen, architecture has changed dramatically over time, shaped by power, belief, technology, and the shifting needs of society. From temples to towers, every building once had a story to tell. But when we look at many of today's buildings, it's hard not to wonder what happened. The 20th century marked a radical shift, not just in form, but in philosophy. Architects began rejecting the ornamentation of the past and embracing a new ideal: functionality over beauty. The rise of modernism in architecture was deeply tied to the events of the early 20th century: two world wars, rapid industrialization, and a global desire to break from the past. In the rubble of war-torn cities, there was no time or money for ornament. Function had to come first. Architects like Le Corbusier, Walter Gropius, and Ludwig Mies van der Rohe became the pioneers of this new approach. Less is more, declared Mies. A house is a machine for living in, said Le Corbusier. They became the foundation of modernism, a movement that would shape skylines for the next 100 years. Iconic buildings like the Bauhaus in Dessau, the Villa Savoy in France, or the Seagram building in New York stood as monuments to this new world. They were stripped of decoration, reduced to pure geometry, and built with industrial materials that symbolized progress. Modernism gave us a new kind of architecture: efficient, minimal, forward-looking. But in the pursuit of function, warmth was often left behind. That's why some cities today feel soulless, but hopefully we will change it in the future. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and stay inspired.